What's up guys, Asian here with another build video, and today we're going over Magicka Sorcerer DPS. The Mag Sorcs are actually in a bit of a good spot right now. There are various other builds out there besides this one that use other abilities, for example Elemental Weapon, and some people have even been able to use frags that's spammable to a certain degree of success as well. Here we are running one pet still. You can still run two pets if you have been running the Volatile Familiar. The Familiar is a little bit less reliable than the Tormentor or the Matriarch, depending on which morph you're using, mainly because it has to be within melee range, and because of that it can sometimes not do what you want it to do, and may sometimes not hit the enemy just because it has to run around a lot. So you do lose a little bit of DPS if you are going to be running the Volatile Familiar in certain fights. But generally speaking, two pets is going to be a hair stronger than a single pet, but single pet is going to be more consistent. So just bear that in mind before you decide how many pets you want to run. Non-pet, on the other hand, is noticeably weaker than pet builds, so it's definitely something you're going to want to try to avoid doing if you can. Just because they did update quite a few things with pets over the past year and a half, so pets are not quite as bad as they used to be, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Now, one thing to keep in mind with Sorcs is that part of your DPS and your sustain is going to be reliant on the RNG factor with your Crystal Frags proc. Sometimes you'll be able to get 3 frag procs in a row, other times you'll be getting none after 5 or 6 casts. It's all part of the RNG process. So the more frags you get, the higher your DPS is going to be, and the better your sustain is going to be as well. Now, in terms of the Tormentor versus Matriarch argument, I like the Tormentor because your healer should be able to keep you topped off. But if you're in a situation where you are, maybe doing portals in Cloud Arrest or Sunspire, for example, you might want to consider running the Matriarch. You will lose some damage, obviously, because the Tormentor does deal more damage than the Matriarch, but you do get a nice burst heal instead. So it's kind of up to you which one you want to go for here. And it's also up to you whether you want to activate the Matriarch, or just say the Tormentor's ability at all while you're parsing or even in the middle of a trial fight. It is going to cost you more sustain in order to activate the ability, but it does increase your DPS if you're able to sustain it. In a raid you should be able to sustain it, but it can get tricky depending on how organized your group is and how many support sets you do have. But if you don't decide not to use it, it's not a huge DPS loss because you won't be running it anyways for the last half of the fight. But that pretty much covers it for this Mag Sorc parse video. As usual, gear, CPs, all that stuff is down in the description below, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. So please enjoy the rest of this parse.